we just thank you so much for loving us, for guiding us, and being there for us, Lord. We just pray all these things in Jesus' name. For his sake I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, sir. Y'all join in pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the Texas pledge.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you very much. Take a seat, please. At this time, I would like to ask Ernesto Delinda from Texas Association of Counties and Jack Coffey, I guess both of y'all will come up here. And I'm asking Commissioner Beecham and Ms. Rushing to accept this award as they work with the areas that have caused us to receive this.
Your Honor, will it change us? I'm gonna let Jack do the presentation, Judge, if it's okay, and I'll take a picture of you guys.
Well, it'll be at least the second time.
I'm going to have y'all hold this award, and let me read that. We have a press release statement, Judge, we'd like to read for the court to announce this award. Wichita County has earned a 2020 Safety Achievement Award from the Texas Association of Counties Risk Management Pool for its record and commitment to safety in the workplace, as well as controlling the county's workers' compensation claims. To qualify for this award, the county must participate in tax workers' compensation program and have a safety program or an accident prevention plan and meet additional criteria. And through its commitment to safe work practices among county employees, Wichita County works to reduce employee injuries and obtain a substantial savings for taxpayers by minimizing workers' compensation claims. Wichita County is one of 12 counties statewide who has earned this award, so it's very prestigious. On behalf of the Texas Association of Counties Risk Management Pool, I congratulate you for an outstanding record. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
thank you. Let's do away with it.
Yeah.
I really do have a face.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, we definitely appreciate the being recognized, and just FYI, we're enhancing our safety program. We brought on some help in enlisting to do that, so we'll be enhancing our safety program in Road and Bridge. We looked at the statistics this morning, and Road and Bridge is not our high department, which is great. So kudos to our guys. They all do a yeoman's job to make sure we're taking care of safety. But it was kind of interesting that clerical is pretty high. We have a lot of accidents in our clerical staff, so we may need to look at some training in the courthouse. There's hard hats and safety vests and safety glasses for our clerical staff. So. But we do appreciate it and appreciate the award and being recognized.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks
Keep
for
up the
having me.
good work. We're looking
Thank
forward
you
to
all.
coming back next year, Judge.
Thank
Commissioner
you.
Beecham has, it's
TLET.
Yeah. The one with, they're gonna have people come in, review our use of equipment, road equipment and all that, UT Arlington.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're thinking that's gonna have both, it'll enhance safety and it will increase production on the equipment, so,
I think that's outstanding.
yeah.
Your Honor, if I may.
Yes, sir.
We have 2 new consultants assigned to this area. One of them came right before COVID, is a new law enforcement consultant. As you all know, Wichita County is now providing, the pool is providing law enforcement liability coverage to Wichita County. With that comes the services of a law enforcement consultant. So we have a lady by the name Carmen Knapp, who was chief deputy up in Moore County for many years, is the new law enforcement consultant to this area. We also have a new HR consultant that's, hopefully she'll come aboard on June 1, and we're looking forward to have her on board. And together, we're gonna be working as a team and working with Wichita County the way we've done it over the years, and I cannot thank you enough for your support over the years.
Well, thank you all. We think it's a great partnership, has been for a lot of years, and we appreciate the very proactive things that Texas Association of Counties brings to us.
Thank you.
And we appreciate all the money, I don't know what our premiums are gonna do, but from our storm damage, how bad the pool got hurt on that girl.
My plan is to visit with Willie after Commissioner's Court. To make sure we're not dropping the ball anywhere, so hopefully we'll do that later today.
All right, very good.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
If you do speak with Willie, we had some additional, they came out and did an inspection on the precinct 4 office building and shop, but we found some additional damage, so I didn't know how to handle that.
No problem, we'll just submit that to the claim and let them know that it's part of the original, and we'll work from there. We'll definitely work with you guys. It's to be expected, we're still finding out, members are still finding out damage to properties that were unaware as a result of the winter storm. So they said the damages combined of this storm is very close to, and I'm not just talking about county government, I'm talking about the general public in essence, is very close to what you would expect from a Category 5 hurricane.
Wow.
So it's pretty damaged.
Wow.
Stuff.
Wow, covered a bigger area.
Absolutely.
The entire
Absolutely.
state.
Yes. Okay.
The city of Wichita Falls Risk Management Department would have never believed I would have taken or been handed a safety award, because I was the poster child for accidents.
Well, thank you again for your support. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm just telling the truth, so.
All right, thank you all very much.
Judge, I'm just gonna drop this off with you, this press release for your local newspaper
Okay.
and for the elected officials.
Okay.
All right, thank you. We'll get that out.
Thanks, sir.
All right, this is part of our meeting, and I'd ask for any public comment. Is there anyone in the audience or on the phone that has anything they'd like to say? If there's a 5-minute limit, let's go extend that. Hearing none, I will close that portion of the public comment section. Okay, consent agenda, that's for take action on that.
Judge, I had a few questions.
Yes, sir.
Please, and I don't think anything will need to be pulled down. The item number 6, that job, what was that job? I'm not familiar with the numbers.
It's on the LEC. It's gonna be paid for that.
Was it something in particular? Do you know, Mark?
It's just a
What did I-
continuing project. It's their
That's just the
portion
monthly
of their
or
contingent.
the
Oh, it's
Draw.
just a
It's a
draw.
draw.
Yeah,
I
just
thought
a-
it was pertaining to a certain change.
No.
Okay.
no.
And then on item 7, should that pay from Department 403 on the software license and renewal for the election software?
I think I have a line in elections for this.
It should probably, actually, you're right, Commissioner, it should probably pay from 491 instead of 403.
Are there funds enough in 491 to do that?
Yes, sir, I believe there are.
I was gonna say, I think I have a line in that budget for this software.
And Judge, on item number 10, are these changes pursuant to receiving a stipend from Wichita Falls ISD?
Dave, I don't know what the judge worked out on that. We'd had an agreement with them. And it was one of those things that was not renewed. It should be, and I think what I do is thinking that salary would be there pending approval of that agreement with WFISD.
That's how it's written up. It says pending,
Yeah.
so.
Well,
Are we
it's
just-
only
are
the
we-
stipend in the position, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
if they didn't, it would just
They're just moving
adjust.
the mark.
We're just moving the position
And moving the
from,
position from one
from
JP to the other.
Yeah,
four
but,
fifty-six to 455.
yeah, but what we did is when Wichita Falls ISD, assisted with that, we increased that salary to reflect that. And so without that stipend, it doesn't inflate that salary.
It would be 31.5.
Right.
It's $5,000 stipend.
Okay. Well, I just.
But it's a budget neutral move other
Sure.
than if this, accounting for the stipend.
Sure.
And the main thing it does is it moves that truancy case manager into the court where they have the experience of doing that.
Right.
That's really the deal, and it would make it a much more functional
Right.
situation for them, I think.
No, I agree. And Curtis, is there something that we could, Judge, I guess, is that something annually we should request and then bill, or should we just bill it and see if?
Well, we need to have an agreement with them, and we need to ask it for a multi-term or automatic renews and do that. That's a nominal amount that possibly that ought to be increased. But this last year, they didn't do any of that because of the COVID stuff, the truancy report was
Right.
nil, so we didn't do anything.
And then, the last item I had was 13. Is this a change in that juvenile building, or is this a different juvenile building? Because,
It's charged to the wrong building.
oh, this is the school site, not the one across the street.
Right.
But the last one we paid was like 48,000 or something, remember? Was
Yeah.
it for the one across the street?
One for run across the street.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I didn't know if it was a tweak in the amount.
No, there's been no changes in that.
Okay.
And that we ought to go ahead and lower at this on that, correct, that juvenile services school site building, site 6 building, should we change that to the Juvenile Justice Alternative Education Center? That's the
Yes.
real title of that.
And I have a question about 14.
14.
And this, just because it's your barn, I thought I'd overheard somebody say that they roofed a building that wasn't originally supposed to be roofed at your precinct. Was that true or not true, or Parsons? Okay,
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, all of our buildings were supposed to be roofed.
everything over there is supposed to be roofed, okay. All right.
I have a clarification on number 15.
Yes, sir.
Only $4,700 of that will need to be paid from CTIF. $741 will need to be paid from Precinct 2, Road and Bridge Precinct 2. And then the remaining amount, $2,679.58 will need to be paid from Road and Bridge Precinct 4. I spoke to Debbie about this on Friday.
Isn't the 741 precinct 2 CTIF?
I think that 741 is actually going to be
The grant?
property owner paid for his
Oh,
own
okay,
culverts.
okay.
It's in conjunction with one of the roads we're working on. Isn't that the right one?
Yes, sir, I believe that's right.
Okay.
That's why I had asked the court before, and they said that we don't buy culverts, but we needed that one replaced before we did our roads. So the property owner paid for his own culverts. While we're doing the roads, we put those in.
Okay.
So,
Well, did the total amount change? That doesn't add up, Curtis.
812058.
Well, you said, what, 2,200 and 741? I don't get 8120 out of that.
There's 3 figures.
Oh, there's 3, I just heard 2, I'm sorry.
4,700
Okay,
will be paid from CTIF
okay.
grant, and 741 from Precinct 2, and then 2679.
Okay, I'm sorry, I missed that third. That makes a difference.
Item 8, is that for jury assembly? For Ray Palmer Exhibit Hall?
and
Okay.
Curtis, I have a question. On that 741, I don't know, did that fund, when it was received, go into precinct 2 and then we turn around and pay it out of it? Because
That's
that,
correct.
okay, I didn't know how that worked.
And just a statement on item 17. I did visit with Tracy this morning. We are going to amend the language of that document before I sign it. It has an indemnification clause in it that we are going to have to take out. So,
Motion to approve, Judge.
second.
Okay. Any comments, questions, anyone in the audience or on the phone? Okay. All in favor of the motion by Commissioner Waller, seconded by Commissioner Beecham to approve the consent agenda with modifications, signify by saying aye. Aye. Same sign. Opposed? None. Okay, motion carries 5-0. Item number 1 on general business is to review and approve the regular bills for payment.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Beecham, second by Commissioner Finnegan to approve the bills. Any comments, the audience or on the phone? All in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries 5-0. Item 2 is discuss, consider, take action to approve Bad Boys Josh, quote for a one Maverick 16-inch 688cc zero-turn mower in the amount of $6,699 for precinct 2 to be paid by Fund 222, with specific lines determined by the county auditor. Commissioner Finnegan.
In reference to this is a mower for our precinct, a zero-turn mower. Basically, John Deere we had, motor blew up in it. It was unable to be repaired for the cost. I actually went out and got prices from several different competitors in that same size mower. Probably 5 different manufacturers. For the price, Bad Boy for the size product seemed like the best one I could get for the money for the county there. So that's the lowest price I had, so that's what I'm decided to go with.
It's the same mower we bought last year, I believe, so it's a
And
good mower.
And I originally was gonna buy one that was about $600 less than this. It had a Kohler motor on, but they sold it before we could get it through the court. And this one is actually a Honda motor, which is actually a better motor, but it's $600 more, so.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Yes, sir.
Any comments by anyone here or on the phone on the side? Okay, all in favor of the motion by Commissioner Beecham, seconded by Commissioner Finnegan, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carries 5-0. Item 3 is receive an update on the law enforcement center and elevator projects.
Yeah, law enforcement center, we're still moving toward that certificate of occupancy. There's a few outstanding items that we need to correct before jail inspection mid-month. We were informed that there's some rewiring that needs to be done in a couple of the pods that our electrical engineer miscalculated some of the wiring and created an overload in the panel. We're dealing with that. There was also an issue within the laundry room where some electrical outlets were left out for our appliances, the washer and dryer appliances that we're having to deal with. Why they were left out, I haven't been given a good explanation to this point. Considering we took our architect, our HOK architect around and took pictures of the existing equipment. We spent 2 months discussing on how to cage around our existing equipment that we're moving over. In their infinite wisdom, they decided to leave the electrical outlets off the plan. So now we're having to deal with getting electrical outlets put in. So the little irritants right now, trying to get that building finished.
It's always the last 10%.
Yeah. But we're within days of having jail commission come down and do their final. So we're still on track moving in June unless this rewire of one of the pods or 2 of the pods creates additional problems that are unforeseen at this point.
And what kind of rewire? What are they, what's not got enough load? What do they put in there that's,
It's in with the lighting, so I don't have full details yet. I was asked to have the full details on my desk by Thursday afternoon, which I still haven't got, so I'm gonna make another call to HOK this afternoon.
just from what I know on the appliances, seems like something that the architectural planning, electrical contractor would be able to take care of, other than the county here being able to take care of, because that was pretty blatantly
No,
there.
We're on the same
Very
page.
correct about that.
Yeah, no.
And I don't know that the pods is not the same thing, so I'm hoping there's no cost to the county.
There should not be a cost to the county,
Yeah.
as it is my mind, it's an engineering failure.
Yeah.
So we will deal with that issue as it's unveiled to us this week.
Okay.
Can they tap the side of those boxes, Mark, and just bring over another unit, maybe upsize the wire or bring it into 2 different circuits?
Problem is they got some maxed out boxes there already, I think.
Yeah, Jeff, I don't know. It's, at this point, I don't know exactly what the overload consists of. Again, I asked to have that information to me. It has not reached my desk yet, so I'm not sure.
One down the line irritating factors, we built that jail with room to expand some of those facilities, and they maxed out dental boxes coming in. That just doesn't make sense. And we had a number of conversations we had over all of that, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, we've got generator size, all that, above capacity, well above capacity, so, but they skimped on some of the other areas.
They call it value engineering. You know, it's gonna be cost engineering.
Yeah.
That's what it's gonna be. But we're gonna pretty firm with them on what we feel like that it's their problem.
Where's Mike on?
So, but all in all, I will say this, after visiting with Tom Green County, who has a similar facility built by the same architect. They have a 500 and something bed
Like
facility.
40,
Yeah,
45.
540 something bed facility with no sheriff's office or anything else, just jail. We have a 716 bed facility with a sheriff's office, state of the art. Their facility was 73 million. With all the things we've added to ours, our original cost was 70, we're at 73 million. So all in all,
paid for by interest off of the
pay for it off of
70.
interest, yes. All in all, we are very pleased with our facility as far as cost.
Barry,
Compare our cost.
Commissioner ate with us down there and was telling us this story. Is just incredible to me.
Hey, Barry, your mic's off.
So,
I wouldn't say
beyond
anything
that,
important.
elevator
Actually, it's
project at the
It's
annex is
mute.
moving
Oh, it's not
along.
It's on.
Oh, tell him. Lori's.
Is it picking you up since it's on the, no,
It's on.
They've got most of the metal stud walls up now, so we're just waiting on elevator equipment at this point. As far as starting the elevator here in in the courthouse, we're still waiting on moving inmates. We did have a little bit of discussion with jail staff on the future of the new side here at the courthouse. We may need to sit down and discuss that further before we move on with some of the planning, before we finalize the plans. So we'll probably put that on the agenda for Friday to discuss.
Okay. Once you get that, give it to Allison.
Okay.
She
Yeah.
did bring me by in a
Okay.
second.
All right. And that's all I have.
Okay, item 4 is discuss and consider take action on any related issues in the county during disasters. Anything, anybody else?
Well, Judge, and I'd mentioned TAC this morning here. We suspect, and I have a different design on gutters coming off of my building, and they come out of the gutter and turn and go into the roof of the building and then exit out the back of the building. I don't know whether those drains froze and busted. It's a 3-inch PVC pipe that carries the water out of the rain gutter. But you can tell it's really considerably worse, you know, leaking on my fascia and stuff. So anytime we're incurring rain, you can just see it coming down through the outside fascia. So hopefully we can get that looked at and dealt with quickly. And Glenda and Matt, I'd ask them to give a game plan on that as well. So, and then Parsons is working me up something as well to take a look at if we change to that metal what we're looking at. So
Okay.
I haven't received anything yet, but should soon.
Okay. I'm not sure, I need to check it today, when the governor's order, current disaster order for COVID is likely to terminate. I don't know if he will renew it or not. He did renew the storm disaster order, but we have not heard anything out of the Supreme Court what action they're taking over their last action. 2 of the justices voted to go ahead and lift most of the stuff that they were out on. So that could change in the next go around. Okay. Anyone else in the audience or on the phone have anything to bring up? Mr. Beecham, anything else?
No, Judge, I don't have anything.
Mr. Finnegan?
The milling seems to be going pretty good on what we've done. We've lost a couple of days, but there has been quite a bit of citizen calls. I've received several of your residents out there calling me also. They really don't like the ground up
Well, I
roads
heard
in
Mark
the
say,
rain.
call Mickey.
Yeah,
No, if you have them call you, tell them to call me. I'll be glad to
but
talk to you.
I have, I did let them know the good news. I mean, if they ground up your road, that's a positive. You can live for a month or two. You're gonna get a newer road than what everybody else has. So we just have to get back around to you.
Yeah, unfortunately, when you ground up a road and you got 4 inches of rain on top of it the same day. so-
Yeah, that's it's a little tough, but anyway, there is some concern out there, but,
No.
and I will ask this, because I haven't been here before, do y'all usually try to send letters or notify the residents out there, or how do we do that on
I did not this time, I probably should have. but-
either we
It's required if you're going to have the road closed.
close, yeah. But even, there's some of my people right now that have been calling and complaining about the greater work we've done on them, leaving the sides a little rough, and when I explain to them that's because we're fixing to redo their road, they're much happier to hear that we're redoing their road, so we'll just keep going with
We just
that.
made a colored sheet of paper, Mickey, and put it on the doors everywhere. The last year that seemed to work real well, at least notifying them that we were doing that. It wasn't closing the road entirely, but it did have it impeded quite a bit.
Right. But it seems to be moving pretty quick.
Signs are another good way of
Yeah.
construction year. danger is putting that, we'll have this done in 2 weeks on it.
Oh, yeah,
You
that's
have no
not,
control over that 2 weeks. Yeah.
no, but that's all I have.
Okay. Commissioner Wallace?
Just, this is another opportunity to look at some of our drainage situations in the county, and we try to take every time we get some good rainfall to look at projects we've worked on and see where we're making progress and where we're not. It's an ongoing deal. I don't think we'll ever be caught up on it, but we're just trying to make it better in places we can, and we had some success. We'd replaced some culverts and upsized some things, and so it's getting better, but you know, a lot of that drainage deal, until you have a bunch of water standing somewhere, you don't know where you've got a problem.
Right.
And it's just it's an ongoing process, and I remind people, you know, we're not claiming to have it fixed and may never have it fixed, but we're just trying to make it, you know, livable when you go through one of these deals, and we were happy to see some progress in some places, so that's good. Mark, I know you've been working on some too that around, and it just one of those deals. You know, you can take an instrument out there and take shots all day. The real test is when it rains.
When it rains, you have to be out there right when it,
You'll
right
see,
when it stops.
you'll see things you don't see. So we're pleased though. We've made some progress and got some other places to work, and drainage is always an issue when you live in a country like this where it goes for a long time, doesn't rain, and you get 5 or 6 inches. It's a challenge, so we just continue to work on it and continue to move forward and trying to get it done. But good reports from the guys, and you know, I want to point out with that safety award this morning, one of the things, people that we need to, I think, say thanks to our foremen and our crews out there. They've been very good to work with Jack, and I know Jack comes around and gives them some tips every year, and they step up and make it a lot safer. And I'll just brag on my guy, and I think the rest of them are the same. I've got vests in both of my trucks, and I go out on the road job and I get out of the truck. My foreman told me to put my vest on. And that's what I want him to do, because I don't do that on a normal basis when I go in, and he says, no, get your vest on if you're gonna be out here with us. And that's a real important thing.
Sure, yeah.
You know, that road crew deal, that's one of the most hazardous occupations in the United States. It's a very, very hazardous deal, especially in traffic. But I appreciate our foremen and all of our crews being on top of that. And I think it's great that Jack Coffey comes and works with them every year, and we're always making improvements, always moving ahead. Once again, never gonna get it all in one trip, but you continue to improve and move forward, and it makes it better for all of us. Because the number one goal is to have everybody go home at night.
Yep.
And just like law enforcement and everything else, that's your goal. So thanks to folks that work at Wichita County for doing a good job. That's it.
Thanks, sir. Commissioner Watts?
Yes, we're going to, Leon needed to finish up some stuff over there on the Clyde Morgan Turkey Ranch Road area. We're hoping to get that. He and Jack had plotted to maybe by 3 o'clock try to move the machine to their new location and get it situated later this evening once Leon gets finished with his rerun over there. I think it's going to help him have smoother layout, but that's moving along. John's got to run tonight to Missouri to move an excavator and bring it back here, so he's just out of pocket on Tuesday, and then but we should be able to resituate then and make that work just fine. So
Well, if we can get it moved over to
Crestview,
Crestview, then we can road it to Goodman.
and so that should work out well for us. So, Barry, if you go out to that machine, Klossner told me this morning that on the display is a wrench, and through that wrench gives us the hours on that machine.
Mhm.
We had a difficulty finding it.
You have to pull it up then that's the,
Yeah.
the service deal. I
Right,
think, yeah.
if you go out there, if you would
I'll
look at
check it.
that and see, and if somebody's there, show them so we can pass that on. He talked like it was easy to pull up, we just don't recognize the symbols, I think. is
So
what-
are we logging that out of?
We're
each?
logging
Yeah.
that to the precinct, the
That's
number
good.
of hours to
Yeah.
the precinct for the grant, so.
That's a good way to do it. Yeah, I'll pull that up. I think I know where it is.
I can get those from Klossner, they can read them remote, but it's just easier if we can read it when we get through, so, each time. But we didn't get as much rain at Electra, thank goodness. I was very pleased, with 4 inches or just slightly over 4 inches on Buffalo Creek, ran smooth and never came up over halfway full, and which has never been the case. 3 inches took it over the top, and so felt like we're making progress.
That's all
So
you
that's
need.
good, yeah,
Move along.
that's a good thing, so, other than that, that's, I think all I have, Judge.
All right, so, I've got a pretty quiet week ahead. I do have a Zoom call tonight on child trafficking. The group that's working on that, there's a couple different groups have grants involved with that, and so we're going to have that meeting tonight at 6. And those are informative. It's amazing to me what is going around in the area. The only thing I see some things that we see headlines in the paper are, and I'm not sure how the law reaches, some things don't sound like trafficking to me. I mean, some of our border stuff, they're calling it trafficking, and it may be in the broad sense of it, but, we're still having a lot of people who do everything they can to pay money to somebody to smuggle them into the United States. Sometimes that's done very crudely, dangerously, and so it's, because when I always think of trafficking, I think of it more in terms of sexual exploitation, but the definition is really broader than that. And, it's amazing the impact, and sometimes you have to wonder, why would someone put their family or their children through what they do? But what we don't have for is the appreciation of what they're fleeing from, both physical conditions and political or psychological conditions that they're in. I mean, they're in fear of their life for any random moment of violence that kills or maims them, and they have no clue why that happened, other than the tyranny of those that are in power. And so it's going to be interesting how we wind up as both the government and a society is how we deal with this. But it's here, and we've got to figure out something. And I don't think necessarily all of it's legislative reform. There's also some things, speaking of legislation, our legislature, I tried to get out some emails over the weekend, I'll try to get out some more today. They are voting on things such as to no longer allow local government to bring suit against the opioid lawsuit we're in. We wouldn't be allowed to do that. And, the suit we're in on the underwater ground pollution that the state discouraged us, offered a ridiculous settlement of which they take half for doing none of the work. And we pay the fees. It's just amazing. But there's some political interests, and we had that bill stopped week before last, and now it's being brought around to get us out of the ability to try to sue for return of taxpayer money spent to cure problems caused by, in one case, pharmaceutical companies. There can be other things that we pay the medical bills for people that are subjected to medical problems by someone else's error. And we ought to have the ability to recover that. But what they're heading for is probably a thing of trying to do like the tobacco settlement was done. The state got the lion's share of that, and the rest of us get. Commissioner Beecham replaced me on that committee to serve and help try to fairly distribute the proceeds, the interest proceeds from that tobacco trust fund. But, it just amazes me. They're also working on the fact to put interest, to remove two certificates of obligation, and it looked like the other one, the wording didn't ring true to me, but tax anticipated notes going under M&O instead of under interest and sinking. You know, we have representative form of government. Our country was founded on that. We do not have a true democratic form of government where everybody meets in town square and votes on everything you do. That's not the way we entrust business. We'd say congratulations to Wichita Falls ISD on their bond issue passing. But Lori, what was that about? The 10,000 voters? No, what do you now?
5,000, wasn't it?
5,000 voters out of, in the city,
72.
probably
Oh, yeah.
50,000
Probably.
are within that school district close to that.
It's a very small margin.
Yeah, yeah. But 2-1, so.
And Judge, what was is that just a school function, or there was an online reporting requirement that have you always done that, or is that new, or?
Yes, the county, with the county, when we have to do that, it is in the election code. We have a link on our website that links to the state. We send the report to the state, and then with the county elections and stuff, or any elections the county is in charge of, there's a link on our website that they can click and view. That is something, since the school districts and all was in charge of their own election, they had to put it on their website.
Oh, okay.
So, but it is in statute.
Did you ever hear a purpose for that?
No.
I know what I think the purpose is. It's so politicians can reap that early voting list and proselytize it by sending mailers to people who traditionally vote early voting. They can save time and effort and target that group that's gonna go to early voting.
Very possible. I mean, it's
It
been in the
reaps.
election code for probably 2 years now. or
Yeah.
more.
But that one slid under the radar. And it looks like to me it's very self-serving.
Yeah, I had several calls from people worried about why their information is being put out there. We have to do what the code says.
I know, and they ought to let their representative and their senator know they don't appreciate it. Because but I really feel it's for political exploitation of those lists. I'd be glad to hear a good valid reason about that, I don't. Anything else? Okay.
Budgets, Judge, on Barry.
We're gonna, do you wanna go ahead and do your budget this morning and talk
I
about that?
can, you bet.
Instead of going in this afternoon?
Yep. I'll have to grab a copy, I might be in here.
Okay.
Yep, it is. You want me to begin?
Are these in our books?
Yeah.
I think they're all in the books, yeah.
I had just a little cover letter just explaining, since I wasn't able to be here on Friday, it's really pretty straightforward. And some of this stuff is subject to, how things go over the next few months. Just kind of a cost of living increase on areas where we know we're gonna be hit. Fuel's one of them, certainly. One of the places we're getting beat up on right now is these repair costs are going up substantially, and so we've raised that line item a little bit. But just to go down through there, increase on gas and diesel, I think my 21 approved was just under 25, went to 27, and especially that's important since we are doing our own rock haul now. So, and guys, that may not be enough. It's just going to depend on how things go. But this is all a best guess, is what it is. And then on down the line, once again, repair costs, anywhere we're involved in that, it's a problem. And one of the things I realized yesterday was I don't think I put any equipment rental in here, and since we're using that deal, that's something I'm gonna have to adjust and look at.
I did put it in precinct 5,
Did you?
Barry.
Okay,
And of course, the grant is probably gonna underwrite most of that cost anyway.
Right. At least this go round. So,
Yeah.
other than that, on down the line, nothing much till we really get over to capital expenditures, and we're probably due for a motor grader trade. We've been doing that on about a 3-year basis. We've got a 2,500-hour machine, which is out of warranty now, which just scares the heck out of me with repair costs like they are.
Now, Barry, are you hearing anything on, is this chip deal gonna affect any of that on that equipment like it is pickups right now?
Well, I don't know, I haven't even sourced one.
I
We'd go
haven't.
out for bid. My estimate on that would, we could swap out for probably 70, and maybe even better than that. I thought 70 was a fair number, and, the water truck we've got, that we picked up from Precinct 1, and Willie, if we're able to do that in this current budget, we could go ahead and get that done. If not, I went ahead and put it in here, in case we needed a budget for it, so I think that's 15. And then, our steel wheel roller is down. We've been very fortunate to use Precinct 2's and Precinct, Precinct 1, so, that's something. That's one of those deals where, I'd like to have one, but I want a bargain. And every once in a while, there's one out there, and I think we found one of those last year. Didn't you get one, Jeff?
No,
Or was it, Mark, was you?
It may have been
I got a
Mark.
steel wheel a
Yeah.
couple years ago. We
Yeah,
found
that was a heck, that's what I'm
used,
looking for. Is that same kind of deal. Other than that, that's,
Well, there's one company I wouldn't buy it from unless I really looked it over. After
Well-
I deal on the rock box.
oh, trust me, yeah. This,
Oh, I got
Yeah.
mine from ASCO.
yeah, I think that roller deal is, it's a little easier to, really look over that
Yeah,
kind of equipment
it
than
is.
that rock box is just a complicated deal. But basically, that's it. That's kind of my proposal. I'm sure we'll be thinking of things as we move along, but, once again, just, inflationary moves higher on a lot of this stuff. It's gonna hurt us a little bit. It's gonna cost more to do business this next year. Hopefully, things will settle down some.
We can do that transfer this year. I can take 15 off of mine for next year.
Yeah, Willie, we need to look at that, see if we can do that. I don't know if I've
I'll go ahead and get that
got room
purchased.
for it or not. I went ahead and put it in here just in case it wasn't, but I think we can. We'll-
and
we'll see
Willie,
what we can
I
do.
was revising mine, but I'm not sure I'm handling the transfer enough in transfer, and I'm not sure I'm calculating it correctly. So I wanted to show that to you and get you to help me with that.
That's mine in a nutshell, nothing. The cost of living raise that the judges proposed is fine. We'll work within the limits of that. and,
Just for your benefit on that discussion the other day when you weren't here, Mr. Beecham feels like he wants to, he'd asked the court to approve additional money for his foreman. But what I encourage you to do without having to come back, you can take $200 off each person.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
then you can load up if you've got one or two you want to compensate greater than the other.
My plan was to work within the parameters of that proposal and hadn't really got down to the actual deal though, but my first thought was just a straight cross deal, because we're in pretty good shape. But Jerry and I talked about it, about where we're getting good service, where we need improvement. I mean, that's basically what it's about, so. And we'll continue to evaluate that over the next month or two. It's gonna be a long summer.
Well, I didn't feel like the ask was exorbitant. I think it was just over $800 for a year. And I think Leon brings way more than $800 more value.
When I say it again, I don't understand, what's the?
My ask was about $800 over the 1,200 for Leon. I wanted to give him 2,000.
Well, I think the one consideration, and I hadn't thought about that, so I don't know if I've really got an opinion one way or the other. There's some merit to keeping them the same, balanced across the board. I mean,
Well, each
I
of
just-
you has the opportunity to
Yeah.
lower those salaries, but what he was looking for was an additional $800 allowed
I see.
to do that.
I hadn't thought about it, I'd have to think about it a little bit, but other than that, that's,
The roller, do we need to take a look at maybe a big roller, or if you found a used roller and buy it out of 5?
Yeah, you know, and I don't know that we need to have,
Is Mark's and Mickey's the same size roller?
No,
I don't know that we need to
it's a
own
smaller line.
four steel wheel rollers in Wichita County. I mean, I really don't.
I don't see that needing that either.
I'm-
We're adequate on the size we have,
I
or?
almost wishing ours was in 5, but it's where it is, so.
Yeah,
Precinct 2 has a lot of equipment.
it does. And
Yeah,
we've used it. and
You
you've
only
been-
buy new and the best, so.
Yeah.
And you've been very gracious about allowing us to use it, like, we've all worked together well and moved that around. I don't know if we need to own 4 of them, Judge. I don't know that that's good business.
Mark, does yours roll up on your trailer fine, no problem, you can haul it around?
I haven't heard them have any trouble
Do
hauling.
you haul yours on the big trailer, or?
Mickey, yours is the sheep's foot, it's the convertible,
It's
isn't
the
it?
convertible.
Yeah, which that's a nice option,
Yeah,
because there are times when we're out doing this base work where that sheep's foot deal is really pretty handy. But then when you get into paving season, it's nice to have that big steel.
That's
Deal.
the sheep's foot while you're paving, kind of sends you backwards on that.
Well,
well, we
it
talked.
has its application. Once again, I just don't know that we need 4 of them. I really don't. I'm not sure that's good business.
It's always good to have 2 if you're doing a major project.
Yeah.
Breaks down, but you really, if you're doing, you know, a couple miles or more a day, you really need 2 rollers.
You can run to, and we need 2 with what we're doing right now. It works good.
Well, you know, last year, Mark was working on his a little bit, and your roller didn't come in, or hadn't shipped yet, or something behind, and we ended up renting for a week from Cat.
Was that on the bridge?
No, it was out there on Horseshoe, I think.
I remember doing that, but I didn't
In
remember
just
what project we
short
were
period
on.
of time, they brought it out there.
We don't have a hard time. That's one thing about our foreman and about, I think, the commissioner, we've all been very good to work together.
Yeah,
We
they
said-
keep them, they get it well planned in
Yeah.
advance
And
generally.
that makes a difference. I just don't need to know that we need to just have something sitting around in the inventory just to have it. And, so if we can work out some kind of a deal to make that work, I'm not dead set on it by any means.
That's probably the worst thing we can do is the amount of time equipment sits.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And I would like to have a helicopter, but
Well, Mickey, is yours on the job with Mark right now in precinct 1?
Your little one?
I think it is, because we took the sheep's foot off for that reason, so I think it's okay. I think I had seen it sitting on the corner of Parker Ranch when I was out that way.
And I can't remember the story, what the equipment was, but we were having a difficult time getting something loaded on that trailer because of the lip. It was hitting, the lip was up just a little tall, and I can't remember what the deal is, but I know that your older foreman had brought it over there, and Pete was trying to load something. They were working together, and we couldn't get up on that lip, and they finally set them some ties down and elevated them, and then was able to go up on there. But I
Step
just
up.
wondered if you had any of that trouble, if you're,
That I don't
because I
know.
thought there was supposed to be a flap that came down.
some of them do have a flap on them. That could be a pretty good jump, and on that steel wheel,
It
you're
just
pulling with your,
Yeah.
if you run up against it with that roller, I can see where it would, like being against a chalk, I mean, there's not,
So we need to back on there probably.
probably right, that's probably right.
Mm-hmm.
Run the rubber tires up on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, did you have your 20,000 or 18, what'd you put in for temporary help? Is that in this? That's claims down.
Yeah,
No, that's-
it was, let me see what I did here. I don't know if I wrote, I think I did. Yeah, I put 15 in.
Okay, there it is, I see it.
Yeah.
The zero should be coming out, only at 15.1.
We-
Yeah,
We've had-
$15. Won't go very far.
An hour out of the deal.
That won't
We
go
had,
very far.
2 different fellows come out and fill out applications, never came back.
Yeah, we get that.
Well, they did what they had to do to keep drawing.
Is that's what Jack told me, and
That's
I
the
just, I thought they had general interest in coming
Yeah.
to work.
Our summertime, weed eating and that kind of stuff is, and then we get shoveling some hot mix, that's handy to have. Have some heavy help, but
That's why I want to keep hold of Brian while I've got, he comes back every year as a good hand.
And Mark, for over 20 years, we had, was it Tex do you remember him, Judge Tex? Somebody worked forever, up till he was about 75 and then decided
Tex
this.
or Bill?
It was Tex was his first name, but I don't remember his last name, but he worked only temporary from, early summer to fall and then would leave. But he'd weed eat, and go in front of the mowers or pick up trash.
Yeah. We had a couple, three of them, that we kind of, they really worked out well. One was retired from precinct one, and, I can't remember where Tex was.
I don't know about equipment availability. That's probably something to think about.
I wondered about that. I saw on the news report this morning that if you don't have chlorine, you probably ain't using your swimming pool this year because there's tremendous shortage, and that just went through my mind. I wonder how widespread this chip thing is, and if
Well, we're
it's,
having a hard time getting ag chemicals right now. You can't get all you want, can't get everything you want. You just gotta, we're having to change some formulas.
where was the big plant that had the explosion and fire and ruined it?
Well, I don't, was it a glyphosate plant? I don't know.
I don't
I'm not
know,
sure, but
it
it's
had
not,
it's had an effect on this chlorine.
it's not readily available.
Take your salt shaker out there.
Yeah.
That's a good way to, that's a good time to change over to a salt
I
water.
guess
bed.
so.
Oh, there's just lots of things that, somebody did say that this ammunition might lighten up a little bit, that I was reading something
hope
about
so.
that yesterday, that it's kind of been under the gun. About the time we get to where there's plenty of it and we'll outlaw it, probably, is probably the way that's gonna work,
Yeah,
but
Afghanistan shut down completely, there'll be some surplus military ammunition.
you were talking about the border. My son is down there today. I talked to him early this morning. He's working on that Kane project, the next phase of it, and he said there is a heavy military presence down there. Said he'd not seen that before, and that was just his first impression. That he said it's tense. Said it's just,
Well, you got half of Congress running down there, and it's,
Yeah.
they've got to provide security.
yeah, that's why we got all of it.
And that may be a conflict of interest, I don't know.
Well, and with all that's going on down there, quite frankly, I mean, he's down there to do, like I say, do another phase of that Kane work, and you got contractors that are trying to do things, and they have to have security with them, and they don't have security to provide because they're snowed under. I mean, they're just overwhelmed with everything that's going on, so that's gonna slow the whole process down. You can't move forward with anything you're doing, so it's a heck of a mess.
All right, well, let's get back in.
Yeah.
Anything else on your budget?
No, pretty straightforward. Once again, I need to, this is kind of like my taxes. I like to do it and then set it aside for several days and go back and look at it again. It's amazing how you'll find something you didn't realize, but it's pretty standard, pretty much straight across where we've been. Pretty
I
close.
think we have finished with all the departments. We'll have a session to go over the outside agencies, and, y'all need to take a close look at the sheriff's budget. He's come in with a large personnel, cost, salary, not large number, increase in personnel, a large number for the increase in salaries he wants to give. And, I'm leery to do anything until the people in Austin go home.
Which is another, 30 days?
Yeah.
I agree with you, Judge. That thing is in flux.
Because if they pass this stuff on constables and sheriff's departments, we're gonna have to figure out how, and even the sheriffs, and when we talk to our sheriff and we talk to our constables, they weren't aware of that bill, and I asked them each, and like I say, I hope they made contact with Representative Frank, because it's made it out of the Senate, and it's headed over to the House, and
Is that the budget deal where you can't?
can't lower the
Yeah.
amount of money, so,
And I understand what they're trying to do. I understand where that's coming from.
yeah.
But it's not aimed at what we're doing, and
And then you keep wanting to do things to decrease the ability to raise the funds by taxes. We can't go talk to them about it. We can't go, they're now gonna confine things to fill in on that 3.5% if you try to do any building renovations and things.
Well, is there a possibility, Judge, and I realize that just, in not everything is, you know, it's not all the headlines. I mean, there's details in there that you gotta go through, but it's my understanding that basically what it says is once you set a budget, for those agencies, you can't ever, yeah.
Yeah.
But can you break out capital purchases and
Well,
set that in a
somebody's
separate?
gonna be the test case on this poorly run
Yeah.
thing if it passes. You know,
I mean, if we go buy a whole fleet of vehicles in 1 year.
You're gonna be budgeting for them every year.
You're exactly right, and I was just wondering if there would be some possibility that you could break out the capital part of it into another category or something, and,
What bothers me more than that is you take a community like us that has a base, military base.
yeah.
If the feds were to come in and close down our base with our sheriff's department budget like it is right now, we'd never have a way to close it. And our economy,
Won't support
citywide, countywide, would drop tremendously.
It won't support it.
Correct. So there wouldn't be a way to lower that.
well, and they're, you know, you can't declare it a disaster, because they're trying to remove that 8% deal on disasters, because some people may have abused that last year. I don't know, but, you know,
We're gonna have to defend,
Well,
we have to
does-
define
do the capital
disaster.
assets belong to the law enforcement agency, or do they belong to the county?
So, I'm gonna tell you, we're probably gonna get creative in that. I've
Yeah.
even gone to the point of thinking that we're taking the administrative personnel outside of the sheriff and constable's office, put all administrative personnel.
See, I guess we could create a, department that, a fleet management deal. That's what I was thinking, where all vehicles, even precinct
Yeah.
vehicles could come under that. And,
If the money is in 409 for those purchases like that, would that be exempt from?
Well, we don't know that. That's why
Yeah.
somebody's gonna test the law. on it.
We've seen the headline, we've not seen the,
Yeah.
the,
It's kind of like our 25.6 million. We're gonna look at the NACO website today and see if they.
Well, I have another webinar this week, but I can tell that there's no new information there.
can we discuss that a little, Judge? Is that,
We don't, I don't think we can today.
okay, I just asked, because I've got a question on that I know Commissioner Watts and Commissioner Pencan and I have talked a little bit about, and we want to kind of do some exploring on.
Now, that is a qualifying factor, Barry. That's written in the.
You've seen that then, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking broadband.
No.
Well, we're
Water,
talking,
Water.
rural water. We think
Because
that
the-
could
the-
be a
the
tremendous.
wording is invest-
We don't need to get into it if we can't talk about it, but.
So,
We can certainly put that on Fridays and do it if
Yeah.
y'all want it on.
Yeah, just talk about some general thoughts about it, because I think it could be a tremendous, I think it could tremendously expand our tax base
Okay.
down the road. That's kind of the angle we're coming from.
Not only, this countywide citizen improvement, quality of life.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think it's sure an opportunity to look at it. So,
Did a good job with the budget. Very
do what?
Did a good job.
Well, thank you. I'm gonna look back through it. I think I'm in pretty good shape, but, Jerry was going back over it too to put his eyes on it today and see where we are. We just gotta do the best we can do with what we got. It's kinda how we all grew up, I think, wasn't it?
the,
Here's Mako, and then she wants us to, we can talk about it.
Yeah. I've got that already discussed, the American Recovery Act.
Discussion on what to do with the existing new side of the jail here at the courthouse.
See, the new side is 40.
Yeah, the eighties, the eighties construction.
That's like your younger sister when she turned 75 or something, you know?
Well,
Yeah.
the judge spoke about that human trafficking, and I had saw something recently concerning a fellow that had done something similar with his daughter, wife, and the woman he bought.
Oh,
And I'm like,
We've had some emails.
it was just like, that phased over, the woman he bought was just like a side deal, you know, well, of course, there's, you know, just all kinds of improprieties showing when you buy one as a slave, and that's what it was, and it was just like, that wasn't a big deal, it was that he human trafficked.
just that terminology is.
Yeah,
right.
it blowed my mind.
I was just thinking, I expect if I was gonna buy one, she better know how to clean and cook, or my wife would never stand for it. I don't know. That's just my first thought,
We're now
yeah.
starting to intimidate more.
Yeah,
Okay, there will be no reason to have a work session this afternoon
Okay.
on budgets. I think we relieved that part that was open. Willie, is there any other concerns you have on the budget that we need to do before we start trying to put in everything?
Well, we need to have a session on the personnel request,
Yeah,
new positions, request for new positions, and also adjustments outside of the guidelines that the judge put out.
yeah. We've had some departments propose those, district attorney's office did, but theirs was virtually budget neutral. And,
And also on capital expenditures, you know, there were some large requests, but really no actual financial figures
Right.
that were presented, just large requests for perhaps cameras, for body cameras, tasers.
I've got a question since we had that presentation the other day. On this body cam deal, I think the thing that troubles me about that, other than just the overwhelming cost of a product that's, I'm not sure what the life cycle of those, I mean, I'm not sure you're gonna buy those and use them for 15 years.
no.
That concerns me. That's one thing. The other one is, are we gonna have mandates? Is there anything in the legislative cycle right now? I've not seen anything that would mandate
On
that.
the
Is it
jail
in there?
side,
On the jail side, there's some.
On the jail side. So before we do much, I think we need to know,
I bet the technology won't hold up 5 years, Barry.
oh, I bet it won't either.
well,
And-
the storage cost and the server space that you're gonna have to store that
Oh, I
amount
know.
of information.
This is a
Just
major consideration.
And then,
Incredible.
to pay for it, to be cloud-based of some sort, is a whole nother issue in
Then you
itself.
don't own the data.
Well, depends on
Yeah, how you
How
do
much
it.
contract.
what cloud contract you have. Now, we know one of those companies, they say they own the data, but we can rent cloud space.
But I mean, I agree after the presentation the other day, what a nice tool, what a great asset. And I don't think this court's got a bad record of wanting to do things to keep our people safe. I think we've got a good record on that, as a matter of fact. But guys,
You have to justify your spending versus your need.
yeah.
Risk versus reward. What can we afford?
Well, if we end up going that way, we'll wish we would have doubled the size of our server room at the LEC.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm gonna say, we probably ought to look at cloud space that, you can rent it and somebody else maintains all that. for you.
Gosh, it seems like there would be some very good things about having it all the same and not having 2 or 3 different.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You'd almost have to, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, when I looked at the basic numbers of what we were talking about there last week, it kind of took my breath away when you think about expanding that out. And you're not gonna do that for one constable's office, you're gonna do it for,
Well, you got a couple of them don't want it.
Really?
But they don't feel like they have the involvement that precincts 1 and 2 do with, 3 and 4 seem to think, we don't do the same kind of things they do.
Yeah.
And
This,
we haven't, Judge, is somebody getting together that camera quote of where kind of an upgraded security thing that all of them were interested in? And then you'd pose the question, how does that actually keep you safer? Because we have it on camera?
Yeah, all we have on camera is in rough job.
Yeah.
And so if you go into those are gonna be monitored, you just added a big ticket of more labor to do that. 10 hours a day.
Right.
Something like that.
then you got response time that,
Yeah, it's just. The,
well, if you're serving papers in that hazardous a condition, and I understand it can be volatile, it's an emotional deal a lot of times that you're dealing with. I mean, do you need to go to your actual deputies to do that, or is that an option, or?
constables are duly authorized law
Yeah.
enforcement officers. They carry all of the accessories that, that we purchase for them. But there's also some discussion that came up on change from Glock 40s to 9mm. And, we've got a big investment in Glock 40s. And I personally have not been shot by either one of them, know which one to do.
I don't want to be the test guy on that.
Barry, we had, last Tuesday or Wednesday, we had trouble out at the precinct with the tax
Yeah.
fella.
Yeah,
And James was out of pocket, but it was just a very short window of time. Sheriff had 4 guys there and nothing flat. I was shocked that it was so quick, because I really felt like they were center of the county, but if
Yeah.
they were, they sure got to us quick.
well, I think our response time is probably better during the day than it is middle of the night.
Yeah.
Even at that, I think it's much better than it used to be from what I've seen.
Yeah.
And of course, if you're the one that's having the problem, it's never gonna be quick enough. It's just
I was
not.
gonna say arrested him because he'd been barred in the county building, plus he called him.
Well, he got arrested. I saw in the paper that he was arrested. I just didn't know what it pertained.
Well, this must be my robocall, Dave, because I've just been sitting here lighting up all morning.
But yeah, it was a little bit concerning to me. I asked Judy and Stacy to go ahead and shut their doors. I didn't know what the fella was.
Well, none of us want to be in a situation where we put anybody in harm's way. I mean, that's just above and beyond what we ask those people to do, and yet,
And I waited there, if any of y'all wonder, and this has been this way for quite some time. When Kenny's there, he is always 3 deep, maybe 4 deep. And those people are all in the lobby, and so we've always got quite a contingent of people wanting services from the office there, and so the lobbies, people are generally setting if we don't run out of chairs, but
well, I've
It's
had that
amazing.
discussion, and I think when we went through this schedule change on all those remote offices, I've had people ask me, and I try to explain to them that, guys, we've done that for a convenience, but that doesn't necessarily mean we're always gonna be able to provide that, but because of the amount of, business you're having to do and what you've gotta do at your main location. I said, don't just assume that's always gonna be there, and it's gonna be there every day, 8 to 5, because it's probably not. We're trying to, set up some kind of schedule we can operate, but it sounds to me like for maybe the first time in a long time, security is becoming a question. It's always been personnel up until now, but now, see, that puts a whole new perspective on having those remote offices, because it's just harder to provide security for them.
yeah.
So, what do you do? Changing times.
Okay, one other thing I mentioned this to Commissioner Beecham, if you all talked to Judge Johnson over there about what the changes he wants to make in precinct 3, I think a consideration in that ought to be whether the Soil Conservation Service needs all that space they have. With just 2 people there now, no more than they.
Well, that's true, Judge, but the problem we've got is we've got FSA between our court and where.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
No, I'm saying
Yeah.
swap those, look
Yeah.
at that idea of swapping them out.
yeah, I mean,
I don't want to, I just want to pass that while you are going to meet with them.
oh, sure, yeah,
Okay, anything else? We're done.
no.
Okay. It is 11:18, we'll adjourn.
This is another one of those scenarios of why didn't we fix that when we
Yeah.
were running concrete, but we didn't. And actually,